I'm David Alston, and welcome to another edition of the Underground Subway, a podcast that is dedicated to giving you the tools and strategies needed to live a better and more efficient and a life of liberty, a life of freedom, a life in which you, my friends, are able to experience life to the fullest, a life in which you can function, live, and exist on purpose. It doesn't matter where you are, it doesn't matter where you've been. The only thing that matters is that you're here now and that you have an opportunity to experience life to the fullest. This podcast is based on the fact that the name comes from the Underground Railroad. Many of you know that my grandmother was first cousins with Harriet Tubman. And cousin Harriet said something so powerfully. She said, I would have had the ability to free a lot more slaves if only they knew that they were slaves. That means that there are a lot of people out there that were enslaved and they didn't know that they were enslaved. Slavery for them was the norm. It was what they thought life should have been. And she said, if only they knew that there was a better life for them, maybe I could have helped them. That's what this podcast is dedicated to doing. It is dedicated to exposing the fact that maybe we have some things that are holding us back, that are holding us down, and maybe someone can help us to live a better life. And so what we do is we bring on quality and qualified guests who share their area of expertise to help us to live a better life. Not just myself, because I don't want to be free and my family is still in bondage. I want us all to be free. And so I want to challenge you to go to the website, www.theundergroundsubway.com. Listen to past podcasts. Also, check the link out for now we are doing video podcasts, this podcast video, as well as previous that were just audio. So you can listen to them while on the treadmill. Sit and watch and listen to it and learn and be free. I'm excited today and I'm ready to just jump right into my guest today. I'm excited about my guest. I'm excited about my guest's area of expertise. I'm excited about the area in which she's able to show us maybe we can be a little more free in this area. And I'm excited to pull off some chains that may have been holding me back, holding others back, and holding you back. And so I'm excited. My guest today is Natalie Bedard, and Nat, as also as she's known, is an energy healing specialist. And she's committed to guiding others on their journey of self-discovery and emotional well-being. As the founder of Lift Oneself, and the host of Lift Oneself podcast, the Lift Oneself podcast, she's been transforming lives since 2019 by offering tools to regulate the nervous system, relieve emotional pain, and transform anxiety into empowerment. Nat's trauma-informed approach helps individuals embrace their fullest potential through small, actionable steps toward growth and transformation. Despite facing life-threatening illnesses and the challenges of single parenthood, she remains a resilient mentor, empowering clients with compassion, resilience, and radical honesty. Her podcast blends meditation, insightful dialogue, and practical advice, helping listeners navigate the messy and perfect journey of life. Nat believes everyone deserves to feel safe, loved, and appreciated, especially by themselves. Join her on this journey of healing and self-awareness, where every episode, her podcast, and everything that she offers, and will tell you how to join her later on, is an invitation to lift yourself and embrace the warrior work of life. I want to welcome to the Underground Subway, Natalie Bedard. Nat, thank you so much for joining the Underground Subway, and I'm excited about getting into this conversation. I'm excited about getting into this conversation.
I am honored with that kind of intro, and I'm actually really honored to be in your presence. The ancestor and the energy and the charge of what those experiences are and what you are bringing forth and continuing. It's an honor to be on this podcast and to actually be in your presence.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Let's get into it because in talking about your bio and just introducing you, I'm talking about you, and yet I'm listening to what I'm saying, and I'm curious as to how we can uh, uplift ourselves with self-care, uplift ourselves during our most difficult times. And if I may speak on my behalf, and hopefully those that are listening can share with it. I recently lost my pops a week ago, and so having to deal with the grieving process of grieving myself, but yet having to be strong for my children and my grandchildren. Uh, so let's jump right into the self-care process of grief. Is there a process of grief, or how do I deal with grief?
You have to see it and you have to acknowledge it. And unfortunately, in your language, that you have to be strong for other people.
Mhm.
Yet, what is that definition of strength? That is what gets us a little bit, distorted, that we think we cannot show emotions. Being emotionless is what strength is. Where I think that is where the disconnect for a lot of men are. They have this narrative that boys don't cry, men don't cry. And to show that sensitivity means that you're not strong. Where I would say it's the total opposite.
Mhm.
It's allowing ourselves to show the human part of ourselves,
Mhm.
to show that sensitivity and showing, to model that even though I have this and I'm feeling this, I can still be responsible in things. I can still hold space for other people. Or I can also give my permission to say, wait a minute, I need some time to myself
That's
to be
true.
able to
Yeah.
take care of you guys.
Mhm. Do you think, because another area of your, and if I can piggyback on that, do you think that this being strong, a part of your bio mentioned a term that I'm very passionate about because of my upbringing, single parenting. I was raised by a single mother. Do you think that whether it's single parenting or parenting in general or the type of work that you do you think that we tend to at times spend so much of our effort caring for and supplying what is needed to others that we fail to focus on self-care? So talk to us about, number one, if you could, what is self-care? And do we spend enough time in our life on self-care?
I'm a single parent. I'm a solo parent. I have a 29-year-old and I have 14-year-old boy twins. You see, the part of the nervous system, there's four F's in the nervous system. There's the fight, the flight, the freeze, and then there's the fawn. And what you were speaking about is a lot of the fawn of people pleasing. So we have a narrative that we are supposed to be in service of everybody else to be able to have that identity of being good enough, being a caring parent, being this adoration and being looked at of, a pillar of strength, where the discovery is having to ask yourself, what are your needs? Because sometimes you're doing everything for everybody, yet does it come with passive aggressiveness? Does it come with some rigidness? Does it come with some cursing? Does
Mhm.
it come with some silence and being angry and pinching yourself off from the connection because you're resenting things because you're doing it all, not recognizing, why aren't you asking for help? Why? Because your identity and your nervous system is anchored in, I have to do it all on my own. That's what I had to do when I was a young child, possibly. And I haven't even been able to look at that, to engage with that, to change and shift and shape my nervous system into a different way. This is just the way it's been. We're just going to keep following through. Yet, it's having a mirror face to us that we have to give ourselves permission to ask ourselves, can it be done in a different way? What automation am I still going on? And, doing it all on your own, yes, it's a trauma response. It's being independent and protecting yourself. Because if I do it, then I won't be disappointed. I'm not opening myself up for people to disappoint me, not doing it, giving me a no, not doing it the way that I need it to be done because I'm a control freak. So let me just do it that way. Yet, are people getting the best of you? If you're tired, resentful, passive aggressive, do you think people are getting the best of you? Do you think you're even open to connect with them?
Wow.
And I know I can answer no, I wasn't. And still, when I default in my nervous system and it's dysregulated and the twins are asking for things and my head is just like, I don't want to do this, I have to take a breath and be like, wait, what are you actually feeling, Nat? And what is in front of you that is requiring your responsibility? And what is it also that they can do that you got to stop doing for them?
Mhm. Wow. So do you think we need to focus on, it's simple, I live here in North Carolina, but I'm from Philadelphia. One of my favorite movies is called Philadelphia with Denzel Washington and Tom Hanks. And there's a scene in which Denzel says he's an attorney, and he says, explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. I need to take care of me before I can take care of anyone else.
I know we hear the all many listeners that take a plane. You always hear it. Put your mask on before putting it on the children or anybody around you. Because if you're
Wow.
not breathing, nobody else can. When we were young, though, a lot of us, especially if you're going in the ancestors of slavery, we must recognize that is still ingrained in us. It is still ingrained that we are not worthy enough, that we are not capable, we are not allowed to give ourselves permission, we are not allowed to have needs. We are still scraping to find that safety because it doesn't feel safe in our bodies.
I'm shaking my head because that just blew me away. I'm sorry. It's not that I'm shaking my head in disagreement. I'm shaking my head because that just blew me, that analogy. I love analogies because I think we can really, that just blew me away because I'm thinking, how many of us, if I had my 5-year-old child or grandchild sitting there and the oxygen mask dropped, how many of us would instinctively grab the mask, put it on the child first, and then try to put it on? When number one, we're told to put it on first. I'm
And
just,
there's a reason for that. Because if you're not supplying the proper need, and if you exhaust yourself and if you fall down, then what good are you?
wow.
What good are you? Yet that narrative and that identity in the nervous system is hijacking your ability to be able to access the intellect. Because what I'm saying in a simple term, it's like, shit, that makes sense. Yet why can't I access it? Like when I'm in the day to day and this thing gets activated and all of a sudden I gotta just default, it's like, well, that's your work to actually start feeling your authentic emotions and be able to pause yourself for a minute. What's taking over me? Because this nervous system, it is a stallion. It is an intelligent mechanism that you cannot override. Recognize this. I know some people might feel like this is woo woo, yet you got about the ancestors and the energy and what gets passed down on lineages and all this.
Mhm.
Nervous systems create other nervous systems. So the charges that were in that nervous system get passed down. So many people know the generational curse.
Mhm.
It's these charges that we didn't get to really look into to discharge. We just passed it on. That's that, you know, passing on things without taking responsibility. So these charges are in us and we don't feel safe in our body. Possibly some of your listeners, or you may relate, that when you were younger, you felt like this dense fear or sadness in you and you couldn't understand because what's around you, it didn't make sense. And it's
Mhm.
not in my direct experience, but why do I feel this denseness or this feeling? And it's
Mhm.
because it came from the previous nervous systems and it's giving you information, but you haven't been given the tools to really understand how to read this thing because you're
Mhm.
being told you're not good enough and you don't know what you're feeling or what you're assessing. Yet those that really understand to go within and understand their nervous system, they're called woo-woo or spiritual or these different, names, because they understand the wisdom of it and
Mhm.
understand that the basic need that humans are trying to do is finding safety. And
Right.
we've created a lot of psychological things that we think are going to create safety, but it's really just helping us soothe the wound of creating an identity.
Right.
Like when you look at your home right now, it feels safe because it's all perfect. It smells the way it's clean. Put something in the middle of the floor
Mhm.
and see how you react.
Mhm.
Yet
Yeah.
I would ask you, are you safe?
All right. You're right.
Some
You're
people
right.
might say, no, I'm not, because
Right.
my identity, what if somebody walked in here? What if this happened? And it's like,
Mhm.
that's just psychological. That's your nervous system that you are tethered into an identity that isn't real. It's performative for the other people because the other people's judgments and awareness of me is what makes me validated and makes me feel safe.
That of all this is I wish we had 10 hours to
Yeah.
talk about this. Even in what I went through last week, I was talking with one of my daughters and she said, well, I'm going back to work and I'm feeling all this anxiety and I'm having these chest pains and I'm taking what do you call I don't know whether to call a generic name of uh the
Ativan.
pill. Well, it's a Tums,
Oh, Tums. Oh, okay. For the heartburn.
for the
Hmm.
heartburn. And I said to her, it may be just that you're going through the stress of everything that you're going through, and you need to understand. Like you said, I'm just not in a safe place. And I tried to explain to her, maybe you just need some time to just sit back and mentally detox, just relax mentally. Is that, I guess I'm trying to say that maybe she just needs some time to just meditate and relax.
Well,
Talk to us. Yeah, talk to
I'm
us
going to ask
about that.
you.
Is in your expertise, because it's not mine. Is there something that we can do? Is meditation something that we can do to help? Or what is that? Is that
Okay, if you'll allow me, I would like to guide you into a 2-minute meditation.
that'd be
Uh,
wonderful. Yeah.
a lot of people have the wrong narrative of meditation.
Okay.
Meditation isn't about quieting your mind.
Okay.
That's not what it does. It's about honing your awareness and being disidentified from those thoughts and being able to come back into your body. So, in the guidance, I'm going to ask yourself and myself to close our eyes. Yet
Okay.
many podcast listeners, they're driving or doing something that
Hmm.
needs their visual. So, safety first, please. Do
Hmm.
not close your eyes. Um, Yet you're able to do the other prompts that I'm going to guide us in so
Okay.
that you're able to come into an awareness within yourself. So, you're going to get comfortable in your seating and you're going to gently close your eyes. And you're going to begin breathing in and out through your nose. And you're going to bring your awareness to watching your breath go in and out through your nose. You're not going to try and control your breath. You're just going to let the awareness watch the rhythm of your breath and allow it to bring you inwardly into your body. There may be some sensations or feelings coming up, and it's okay. Let them come up. You're safe to feel. You're safe to let go. Surrender the need to control. Release the need to resist and just be. Be with your breath. Drop deeper into your body. There's probably some thoughts or to-do lists that have come up in your mind, and it's okay. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, creating space between the awareness and the thoughts, and going deeper into your body, being with the breath. Again, more thoughts may have come up, or feelings or sensations. It's okay. Gently bring your awareness back to your breath, creating space between your awareness and your thoughts, and allowing your body just to release what's inside. Just stay with your breath. Now, while still staying with your breath, at your own time and at your own pace, you're going to gently open your eyes while staying with your breath. How was that experience?
It was amazing because I'm focusing on the fact that I'm breathing and not, I noticed that I picked up in the background the clicking of the clock that I've never paid attention to. And then you come back to the fact that you're breathing. You're breathing. And then the more I'm focusing on the breathing, I began to ignore the clock as if I didn't even hear the clock.
So recognize our nervous system pays attention to what's here, but it pays attention to so much all around us all the time because
Mhm.
it's one function, keep you
Mhm.
safe, don't die. So it
Mhm.
has to take in, yet if you were to be aware of everything it was taking in, you'd be overloaded.
Right,
Like you would short circuit in your brain.
right, right.
So recognize if you have trauma, and trauma is an experience, it's how you perceive the experience. Two people can have a certain experience and they relate to it totally different because it's what you perceived in that and also what emotions you cut yourself off of.
Mhm.
So that gets suppressed into the nervous system and it labels it, oh, whenever we feel this, we don't have the ability to feel this. So we're going to find something to protect us. And usually we get into a default of feeling anger or feeling resentment because that's a bodyguard of not being in your vulnerability. And it just helps us to offload whatever there is, or just being constricted and cold.
Mhm.
Yet recognize that sometimes more when you're going through the journey, you're like, why are certain experiences bringing out this kind of behavior in me? And this is not who I want to be, yet I'm
Mhm.
not understanding. Well, the work is how I guided you in the body. I'm sure a lot of people had some sensations or feelings. You felt the grief. You're in grief right now. So you're feeling all kinds of different things that you may not be aware of that you're processing. You're in a totally new reality.
Mhm.
The old reality that you're in is no longer there. Yet your mind will play a little game with you of trying to make it still here
Mhm.
and not wanting to accept the real reality right here because the real reality doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel safe with your father's nervous system not being here. He
Mhm.
helped you co-regulate or dysregulate whatever the relationship was, yet your nervous system understood that language. And with him not being here, it's like, how do I relate to myself now? How do I
Mhm.
see me? How do
Mhm.
I comfort and soothe myself? So when we can go into the breath, we get to see what's going on internally and we get to understand our nervous system a little bit more, and then we can shape it.
Mhm.
Yet if you don't acknowledge where you are in the map, you'll never know where you're going.
Mhm.
If you don't acknowledge your biology and accept your biology and understand that it's trying to protect you all the time, you're not able to do the change.
Mhm. Well, people, to me, it would seem like, and clarify this if you can, it would seem like it's two separate opposite ends. We're talking about meditation, but then you are an energy healer. You would think that to the average person may think that meditation and energy are two separate things. What does it mean when we say energy healing?
Our nervous system is built off of energy. It's
Mhm.
frequency. It's sensory. Our eyes, our nose, our touch. It's intaking the information. So that's the energy. To produce a
Mhm.
thought is neural energy.
Mhm.
We understand that when we eat food, it builds a certain energy and allows fuel to the brain and for the body to go.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, we haven't been educated about our biology, about energy. And
Mhm.
we haven't been taught about what focus really is, what our awareness is, and how easy it gets distracted.
Mhm.
You got to see that, oh, I brought my awareness to my breath and I could hear something. And sometimes it will distract me, but other times I could just ignore it because you took possession of your awareness.
Mhm.
And so it's our nervous system is energy. So that's why I say the energy healing, because you're going to come that it's no longer dysregulated. It's in a regulated so that you can feel the abundance. You can feel the acceptance. You can surrender into this moment and accept yourself, who you are in this moment, not who you need to
Mhm.
become. And also
Mhm.
start feeling your authentic emotions,
Mhm.
not the secondary ones or the
Right.
performative, like that I got to be strong for all these people and not demonstrate some of your sensitivity and experience.
Mhm. So that energy doesn't necessarily mean energy in the sense of healing by moving around. It's just taking the energy that's within us. And
Well, moving around too. It's
okay.
all included. It's not separate. It's not an all or nothing or black and white. The nervous system needs movement. That's why I tell
Mhm.
people when you are in a state like right now with your grief, dance as
Mhm.
much as you can.
Oh, I do.
Process,
Yeah, I do that.
dance, and also sing.
Hmm.
Um, we're going to bring in the ancestors with slavery.
Hmm.
Humming down regulates our our vagus nerve. So our vagus nerve starts at the bottom of our brainstem and goes all the way down to the bottom of our spine. When you hum, it down regulates. So it sends a signal to your body that, okay, we don't have to be alerted.
Okay.
Look at, the chain gangs and slavery, how they always had to hum and sing while they were doing their tasks.
Wow.
And they had to do that because there was a thought, I don't want to do this, but I got to keep pushing through to have my safety. So let me hum to be able to do the task. Let
Hmm.
me sing to be able to do the task.
That's
We're
interesting.
very
Yeah.
intuitive, but
You
we don't
you
access these tools.
you mentioned that, and I always I love this saying when I'm having a good conversation with someone. It's an old adage that says time flies when you're having fun, and we're running out of time. But you mentioned the chain gang and how they would sing while they were working. Uh, if we're on a chain gang and we're singing and we're working and we're going at it, it required not just myself singing, it required us singing, which means that it required me not just experiencing the song, but listening to others doing it. How much of listening or active listening to others plays a role in my healing?
Well, you have to be able to listen to yourself. Do
Okay.
you listen to yourself? And once you listen to yourself, then you can see the narratives and the judgments, and then you can hold a space of active listening for somebody else.
Wow.
And when we can listen to somebody else, we're not going to put our narration of what we think their experience is. We're actually just going to listen. Like when your daughter was trying to explain what something was going on, you jumped to, I got to help her
Hmm.
rather than, how can I help you? What do you
Okay.
think you need?
Hmm.
What are you actually feeling? Let's talk about the grief.
Hmm.
Let's talk about what you're actually feeling
Hmm.
rather than let's just do the remedy or let's kind of, this is what I think you need. It's really giving the autonomy of letting people explain their experience. And it's challenging as a parent because we don't want to witness the pain in our children.
Right. We don't.
It sends us bonkers.
Right. Yeah.
Yet,
Yeah.
pain it is a teacher also.
Hmm.
And she has to understand her own biology. And there may be not enough safety in your conversations to explore this sensitivity because
Hmm.
it's difficult for you to access it for yourself.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, how do we get in touch with you? How do we, you know, how can we reach out to you? Tell us about how to tap into your podcast and hear more of this wonderful information that you have.
My website's called liftoneself.com. So that's liftoneself.com. I do one-on-one sessions and they can be done on Zoom worldwide. There's a 15-minute discovery call so we can see if we can work together. Also, my podcast is called Lift Oneself. The main intention of that podcast was to remove the stigma surrounding mental health so that we can get into dialogues like we're having right now. Also, I have people from around the world that specialize in mental health and well-being with different modalities. So people can hear the frequency or the modality that works for them. You know, they may be trying something and they're not getting any results because it's just not meant for them. They need a different method to be able to engage with their nervous system. I'm also on social media under Lift Oneself, where I leave introspection and thoughts and tools so that we can engage as a community. Because as you said, we're not here to do it alone. We're here to do it in a community. And it's for us to gather that village again so that we can create those safe spaces to grow and raise our vibration.
All right. Well, I have one more question for you in the interview. Would you be willing to come back in the future and talk to us again?
Oh, of course, I would be honored. And I would be honored if you would come on my podcast because
You
you
don't want
have,
to you don't want to ruin your
you see, don't do that.
I'm just saying.
Don't do that.
Well,
Don't pinch off the ancestors. You're the
yeah. Oh,
voice of the ancestors
I have a
energy.
tremendous story to tell.
Yeah.
Tremendous story to tell. Well, as the great late Bernie Mac said during his show, you heard her, America. She says she's coming back. You heard her, America. So, yes. Well, we've got to go, but I would love to thank Nat for joining us. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to join us here on the Underground Subway, and look forward to you joining us again. I would like to thank all of our listeners and viewers for taking time out of your schedule to join us. And I hear the music playing in the background, which means that this train is running and coming into the station, which means it is time to end this episode of the Underground Subway. Whenever I hear that music starts playing, it means that we're pulling into the subway station of Purpose Boulevard and Destiny Avenue. And of all the podcasts that we've done, I'm telling you, I've gained so much from this one. I'm going to actually, at some point today, I've got to go live on social media and talk about that one thing that really stuck out. Sometimes you go and you eat a meal and there's this one thing that's really stuck with you. And I'm telling you, I was so inspired today of all of the podcasts I've done. You all, I need a favor. Please don't tell any of my other guests. But that analogy of the mask dropping down from the plane, it really hit home with me, because so many times we put the mask on others and we fail to put it on ourselves. And what if we pass out? That stuck with me. Sometimes you just have to grab one thing and hold on. My aunt used to say this. Sometimes she used to say, at the end of your rope, sometimes just tie a knot and hang on. I tied a knot on that one. That was inspirational to me. Well, we've got to go. The train is stopped and the conductor is saying you got to get off. So I'm going to tell you, it's time to get off. But guess what? There's going to be another train coming shortly with other guests to come. I appreciate you. I don't take for granted that you're listening. I don't take for granted that you're watching. I don't take for granted that you're taking time to join us here. And hopefully, I know you've been inspired. Well, we've got to go. We'll see you next time right here on the Underground Subway. But before you go, I want to challenge you. I'm going to issue you a challenge today. Tonight, before you go to bed. Tonight, before you crawl under the sheets and tuck in and get ready for tomorrow and have a peaceful night's sleep, I want to challenge you to find a mirror. Look yourself right in the eye, eyeball to eyeball. And I want you to ask yourself a question. Today, did I make the world a better place? Today, did I put the mask on myself? Today, did I make this world better? Or did I just waste another day? Think about that. We got no more time to waste. I'm David Austin, host of the Underground Subway. I'll see you next time right here. Love you. I appreciate you. And guess what? There's nothing you can do about it. And we'll see you next time right here.